We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
We're doing all right. We got 1 week down of football here, Jared.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are recording at the same time that the biggest game has gone on, but details.
Oops. Really, so far, a pretty chalk weekend, with the exception of one game. We get just a little taste of chaos. Week 1, we get a little taste of chaos. I think no matter how this LSU FSU game plays out,
in the long run, it's not going to matter.
It's neither way. It's a chaos game, I would say. What is the score right now? Does anyone have that up?
It is 14 all, I believe. I'm gonna look. Nope, it is 17-14 halftime LSU now.
Okay. But regardless, however this goes, it's not a chaos result either way, but there will be at least a second top 25 loss, because like I said, we only got one this weekend. It was TCU losing to Colorado. Should we be taking Colorado seriously, Kyle? I think it's probably, from a national perspective, maybe the only storyline right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you definitely can say that. It just, yeah, they definitely really surprised me. I was really taken surprised by how well Colorado did here. But honestly, like, who I was very, very impressed with Colorado was Travis Hunter. You look at Travis Hunter, he is the difference maker in that game, and something to keep an eye out for as the season goes along here. If they can hold back Travis Hunter and not allow him to catch 11 passes for over 100 yards in that game, or in any game, how good will Colorado do moving forward?
Yeah, and I mean, and it should be noted, and this isn't, again, we go listen to the episode we put out literally a week ago, our national preview. We told you TCU brought back nobody. Like, I know they were in the playoffs last year, but as far as talent loss is concerned, they lost it. Like, they lost it. Like, this is not last year's TCU team.
Yeah, in all honesty, like, TCU, like, should have really won this game. You look at the stats here. TCU ran the ball 7.1 yards per carry versus Colorado 1.6 per carry. But it's the yards after catch of what Colorado came up with. Mainly Dylan Edwards, the running back, making 5 catches and 3 touchdowns in the reception field there, and tackled on another touchdown on the ground. It's that yards after catch that kept Colorado in this game, and eventually won it 45-42.
Yeah,
but yeah, definitely something to keep an eye out for here is how well Travis Hunter does, as well as Dylan Edwards, but mainly Travis Hunter. And can he continue to play, what was it, 60 plays or 60 snaps he was, because he plays both wide receiver and corner. Can he continue that through 14 games this year?
Yeah. And, you know, to quote Dennis Green, if you want to crown their ass, then crown their ass. But, you know, like, I'm not ready to do that with Colorado yet. Buckeye Matt down in the Discord chat says Georgia only scoring 17 points in the first half against UT Martin should be collegiate chaos in my book. You're not wrong. If Ohio State fans want to feel bad about week 1, and I don't care what the final score ended up saying, y'all didn't look nearly as bad as Georgia did in week 1. We're talking University Tennessee Martin. We're talking about Tennessee Martin. And
Yeah.
they looked terrible in the first half. They run the score up a bit in the second half and they make it look like it's not too bad. Whatever. I don't care. Michigan's offense didn't look great against East Carolina. Their defense, I thought, looked fine, but their offense didn't look good.
Funny thing about that, I know a lot of people are giving, and rightfully so. In our last episode, Ohio State only produced 382 yards of offense against a Big Ten opponent. Michigan put up 402 yards. Yeah, 402 yards of offense against an AAC opponent.
I mean, how much worse do you think is Eastern Carolina compared to Indiana?
They're not that good, Jared.
But neither is Indiana. I would be interested to see. I'd be interested to see what would the spread be, Indiana versus Eastern Carolina. I bet it's not more than 10 points. I don't know. I don't think Indiana is a huge favorite over Eastern Carolina for what it's worth.
It's fair.
Right. Nebraska, by the way, Kyle, Nebraska, new coach, same old story. They lose by 3 points. I thought Minnesota was the vastly superior team in this game, but only win by 3 points. Eastern Carolina equals not any good this season, but neither's Indiana is my point.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say the Pirates are good. Sure. I'm just saying the Hoosiers are bottom 3 in the Big Ten this year.
When do you start feeling bad for Nebraska here?
Why do I have to feel bad for Nebraska? Why is that a thing?
That's why I was asking you the question.
Yeah, but you said when, not if.
Okay.
No, I feel bad. I do feel bad for their fans. No one should have to keep losing like that. Like, and again, I'm not saying at
that point it's the coach. You got to put it on the coaching staff. Like you can.
It's a brand new coaching staff, Kyle.
You blame it on the coaching staff again. You blame it on the new coaching staff.
But for what it's worth, and I think this is more the fault of Minnesota than it is the benefit of Nebraska, if I'm being honest, or the credit to Nebraska, if I'm being honest. Minnesota killed Nebraska in this. If you watched this game, Minnesota was vastly superior through the first half of the game, and were what I think
I
only
I want to say vastly
through the first half of the game. Yes, they were.
Okay.
Then Nebraska had a really, really nice third quarter. The point is, Nebraska dominated the first half of the game and had nothing to show for it. And you just can't do that. You can't dominate the first half of the game and have nothing to show for it.
Yeah, but the problem is that Minnesota could not run at all. They rushed 25 times for 55 yards. They could not do anything on the ground there. Anything.
They could in the first quarter.
And it's because the only reason Minnesota won this game here was because Nebraska had 4 turnovers in this game. Jeff Sims threw 3, and there was a fumble somewhere in there as well. Like
Sims,
yeah, that's the reason why Minnesota won here was 4 turnovers to 1.
Sims is not meant to throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field.
That is true.
If you're Nebraska, I think it's time to live or die by the triple option once again. Like, because you're not going to get it done in the air with this team this year.
Agreed. Yes. All right, let's move on to other teams here. Utah, the Utes, Jared, beat Florida 24-11.
It's a good win. Not a good Florida team this year. What did Pick Six say that they're like projected to be fifth in the East, in the SEC East
Something
this
like
year.
that. Yeah.
And it's not
like tied fifth.
and it's not a good East for what it's worth. Like it's just Georgia in the East this year. There's nobody else of note in the East. I know a lot of people are going to try and say Tennessee, but I saw nothing. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that at all. And I saw nothing from this weekend to change my mind. I mean, Nebraska got a Georgia Tech quarterback that can't expect they can't expect him to throw. Man does nothing but triple option. But for what it's worth, he's real good at it. Sims is a beast at running the ball. Just live or die by the triple option, Nebraska. You'll be fun. If nothing else, you'll be fun.
Yeah.
I will tune in to watch you every week, Nebraska, if you're on the triple option.
This Utah and Florida game here, yeah, honestly, it could have been a lot uglier here. Florida is so one-dimensional here, and you had to rely on a transfer here in Graham Mertz from Wisconsin here, who had to throw the ball 44 times because you were averaging 0.6 yards per carry in this game.
I'm just going to say yikes. And if you want to figure out which one of those facts I was yikesing at, the answer is all of them.
But Florida has to go through such a hard schedule because they're in the SEC.
Yeah, that and Utah.
We're not talking about Utah. They just have such a tough schedule in the SEC. Like they just can't play week in, week out in the SEC and expect to run well.
Yeah, they're so worried about their future schedule in the SEC that they lost to Utah.
Exactly. Speaking of, look,
I'm going to say this again. The SEC East sucks. It's bad this year. It is really, again, I don't have the pick six preview up right now. I think it was like Tennessee, then Missouri as three. And again, like Tennessee's not good.
No, watching them this week, I didn't even
watching Tennessee. They seemed like a much improved defense. I don't know if that's saying. I mean, like, okay, be better. But Milton's still Milton, man. Like I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I still don't trust Milton throwing the ball a lot. Yeah, I mean, he'll have his games and he'll get some good wins here, but yeah, I wouldn't trust him as my quarterback though.
For number 2 in the SEC East, that's your quarterback. This is your god. Like whatever. Mm-hmm. Michigan does what Michigan should do against Eastern Carolina. It's fine. Not a blowout, but it's a fine win. If you're looking at this and thinking it's vastly superior to Ohio State's win, you're wrong. If you think that Ohio State and Michigan had very similar opening weekends, whatever, it's fine. Tennessee is the Wisconsin of the SEC of late. Oh my God, we won more than 8 games, college football bound. Get the hell out of here. I feel like calling Tennessee Wisconsin is either insulting to Wisconsin or because like at least Wisconsin can win their division.
Yes, I was about to say that. At least they've made it to their conference championship game. Then we have Purdue, Jared. Then we have Purdue.
Yeah.
We lost to Fresno State 39-35.
Kyle, is it Purdue?
No, it's the other Jared. It's Purdue.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fair. At home too. Yeah, at home too. we'd been saying that the three worst teams in the Big Ten were Indiana, Rutgers, and Northwestern. Do we reevaluate that?
I guess we let's give it a couple of weeks and then we'll reevaluate, Jared. Let's not jump the gun here over 1 week here.
Fresno State.
I know. It's a bad loss. It's a bad loss there.
Kyle. Fresno State.
Yeah.
But Purdue always seems to get that one big upset almost every year and completely fuck someone. Yeah, but Fresno State. Oregon absolutely demolished the Portland State Vikings. Good job, Oregon. Oakland made Butch Davis almost cry on the sideline. Good job, Oklahoma. Illinois, well, they won. They beat the Toledo Rockets. We don't need to talk about how or what the final score was. The important thing is that Illinois won.
The important thing is that they are 1-0 and have a chance to go 2-0.
The sleeping giant that is the Fighting Illini maybe is still sleepy.
Maybe.
All the hype around Illinois suddenly feels a little overhyped. Notre Dame demolishes Tennessee State in a battle of two head coaches who used to play for Ohio State.
Yes, that was right. Yes.
Yeah.
Eddie George.
Eddie George is Tennessee State. Hey man, like, dude, that's your Buckeye brother on the other sideline. Why you gotta do him like that, Freeman?
No.
Why you gotta do him like that? Toledo is picked to win the MAC. Hey, is Toledo picked to win the MAC? Sure. But hear me out on this one. It's the MAC. Like, whenever we talk about conference realignment all the time on this show, it's literally maybe my favorite topic to talk about is conference realignment. You know what we never, ever, ever talk about in conference realignment? The MAC. Why? Because no one wants any of them.
Speaking of former Ohio State players here, the Fighting Fickles.
Wait a minute. This is a good one from Matt. They did to TSU what we expected Georgia to do to UT Martin. Correct.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Although I think Tennessee State is FCS, and I think UT Martin is Conference USA. I mean, they're at least an FBS team for what it's worth. Like, it's like, I know we make fun of UT Martin and all, but might as well be FCS. But they're not. You know, they're not.
University of Tennessee at Martin is an FCS at the Ohio Valley Conference.
UT Martin is? Oh, I'm confusing them with Middle Tennessee. I rescind everything I just said. I literally just confused them with Middle Tennessee for a moment. That's my bad. I rescind. My bad.
They are FCS. All right.
I was thinking of Middle Tennessee.
Wisconsin beats up Buffalo 38-17.
Yeah. Not a great showing. Again, the 38-17, if you're thinking, oh, that doesn't sound great, it's better than what it actually was. The final score makes this look better for Wisconsin than it really was.
It was 14-10 at halftime for Wisconsin.
It's not a good showing for Wisconsin on their first game out. Brand new coaches, give them some time. They'll figure it out.
New quarterback here.
New quarterback, new coaching staff. Give them some time. Give them a little bit of patience, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I didn't watch this game. It was on opposite the Ohio State game. And I love doing this show and everything. But if you think I DVR'd Wisconsin and Buffalo with the intent of going back and watching it in the short amount of time I had before we recorded this show, you're wrong. No way Wisconsin beats Tennessee. If they played next week, no, Wisconsin wouldn't beat Tennessee.
Mm-mm.
If they play each other in a bowl game at the end of the year, I think Wisconsin could beat Tennessee. Wisconsin's not very good right now. Wisconsin might be pretty decent in November.
Yeah. Two other games here that I want to mention about. Penn State defeating West Virginia 38-15.
Yeah,
Allard actually looks pretty good here. He threw 3 touchdowns, 325 yards in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely had a really good showing here.
I've been in Drew Allard fan for a very long time. I wanted Ohio State to snag him. It didn't work out like that. Big fan of that kid. I'm still a big fan of that kid, despite the fact that he's currently playing for Penn State. If anyone listening doesn't know, he's an Ohio kid.
From Medina.
Yep. From Medina. That being said, this was not a great showing for Penn State. West Virginia, not going to be a good team this year. West Virginia stayed in this pretty close for a while.
14-7 at halftime, but
yeah, it's not a fantastic showing for West Virginia. It's not for Penn State, not a.
It's fine. In my opinion,
not
I think it was fine.
It's not anything to throw any red flags up about or be super concerned about. It's week 1, right? It's week 1. Again, if we're talking, is this roughly equivalent to the showing? And like West Virginia is a better team than either Eastern Carolina or Indiana. In case that needs to be said out loud, they are better than those teams. But again, like if we're talking like the 3 best teams in the Big Ten, none of them had fantastic week 1s, and I'm not necessarily concerned about any of them at this point. PSU got a touchdown with 6 seconds left in the game. That shouldn't count. Unless you had money on it and you needed that. But I don't think that even got, what was the, wait a minute, wasn't that a 20-point game? Wasn't that a 20-point spread? That counted for a lot of people if I'm remembering that correctly. Nope, my 8-leg parlay hit big. Congratulations, Matt.
What was it? I'm trying to look right here. 21 points. Yep, 21 points. So yes, it did, Jared.
That last touchdown counted for a lot of people. If you're scoring a touchdown with 6 seconds left to cover a 20-point spread, I think that someone needs investigated.
Someone
had money on that. Someone at Penn State, Chase Franklin had money on that game. I demand an investigation. Franklin owed someone. Yeah, Franklin had money on that game. In the Battle of the Carolinas, Kyle, North Carolina reigns supreme, as long as we don't include Clemson in this conversation. North Carolina. I think I said it during our sloot picks. This was the easiest bet. North Carolina was only favored by 3.5 points in this game. And I was like, no, this was the easiest bet on the calendar. Why do people keep falling for Spencer Rattler? Why do people keep falling for the lie that is Spencer Rattler?
Anybody's guess is as good as mine here. I really don't know. I mean, yes, he threw the ball 39 times for 353 yards, but that was it. No touchdowns, no interceptions, did not run the ball. He had I don't know how many times he sacked it, but the stat here had 13 carries for negative 22 yards. And my guess is that he got sacked quite a few times as well. But yeah, I was never a big Spencer Rattler fan, and him going to South Carolina didn't change anything in my opinion here.
No.
Yeah.
Rattler was the only quarterback Lincoln Riley missed on. Yeah. Lincoln Riley literally has made every single quarterback he has ever coached look good except for Spencer Rattler. Yikes.
Yep.
Lincoln Riley couldn't make you look good.
And that leaves just one game which we cannot really talk about because game's still going on. It is 17 all Florida State and LSU. But as we mentioned before, in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to really mean much at all.
I mean, they're both good teams. It doesn't look like we're looking at a blowout. So I think this loss isn't going to hurt. If either or both of these teams end up in the playoff conversation, I don't think this loss hurts either of them too terribly bad. Obviously, you'd rather win it. It's still a win is much better than a loss, but they should be fine. Sounds more like Gamecocks O-line has serious issues. I don't doubt that. It's not a team that normally recruits incredibly well unless the player is literally from South Carolina.
Wow. North Carolina had 9 sacks.
I didn't
16 tackle for losses.
Yeah.
From the Carolina defense here. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh boy. You're right. You're right, Woody.
And I didn't watch this game in great detail, but I know from watching Spencer Rattler many times in the past, he has a tendency to hold the ball too long and scramble around and try and make stuff happen. I'm not saying that's what happened in this game. Again, I was switching back and forth between this and Penn State and West Virginia. I was paying more attention to Penn State, West Virginia. So I was watching North Carolina, South Carolina during the commercials. So I don't want to act like I sat down and studied this game because I didn't. But from watching Spencer Rattler in the past, he has a tendency to make his own sacks sometimes. I don't know that that's what happened in this game, but I say that D looked scary, but it was Rutgers of the SEC, so I take it with a grain of salt. Buckeye Matt, you summed that up incredibly well. Yes, I agree. Yeah.
All right. Any last thoughts, comments about week 1 here?
We still have a Clemson game on Monday that obviously Kyle, even we released this show on a Tuesday. As Kyle has already pointed out multiple times, the LSU FSU game is happening as we're recording this. So we don't know what happened with the Clemson game. So if there's some big upset there that we're not talking about, that's why. If there's not some big upset, we probably wouldn't have talked about it anyway. Just want to cover my base there. That game is still less than 24 hours, but still mostly a day away from even starting for us as we record this. So I just want to cover my ass on that one.
We're going to have some more entertaining
Duke
games.
beats Clemson. That would be fucking sweet. Yeah, I agree, Matt.
Mm-hmm. All right. So looking ahead of week 2 here, Jared, just looking at some interesting games. I think Nebraska is going to get killed by Colorado next week in week 2 here. Looking down, I think this is nope. There's another one. One of 2 ranked games here: Ole Miss and Tulane. Surprised Tulane is ranked here, but here we are. Texas A&M and Miami going at it in week 2. Texas and Alabama is going to be the big game. Next week here that everybody's going to be talking about that game. And Wisconsin and Washington State. We got 2 Power 5 teams going at it there. And I think that's about it. I think that's really the big games that I'm seeing right up front here. I might be missing one, but I think that should get you through, Jared.
Cool. Anything in the Ask Sloopcast mailbag we want to cover in this episode?
So Woody asks, grade the performances of Wisconsin, Michigan, Penn State, and our Buckeyes. Like rank them 1 through 4.
I was kind of doing that during the course of the show accidentally. I would say Penn State 1, mostly because that's the best opponent that was played. Michigan probably 2, Ohio State 3, Wisconsin 4.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Do you agree?
I would say Penn State 1, and I would say Ohio State 2. I'll give the way that Ohio State how Ohio State's defense played versus how Michigan's defense played. So I'll give the edge number 2 to Ohio State, then Michigan, and then Wisconsin.
I think the most fair way of saying it would be 1, 2A, 2B, and 4. I think Ohio State and Michigan's performances were pretty equal. So like, if you want to flip flop 2 and 3, I think that's totally fair. I think Michigan's offense played better, but I think Ohio State's defense played better.
Honestly, it's not much better. Like, I know we talked about it in yesterday's episode, but it's not much better. It's not much better.
Hey, Suncard. Suncard's a master at joining us right as we're about to end the show. Like it's actually an incredibly impressive skill.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that is it here. We're doing good, Suncard. Thanks for asking. I think that's it, Jared. We don't have any other questions here. Don't have anything in Kyle's corner here. I was just trying to see if there's anything here, but it's just constant talking about the Ohio State Indiana game and what Ohio State's going to do or what they're going to change and yada, yada, yada. We'll talk more about that on Wednesday's episode.
All right. Tonight's ending music, once again, just like on Monday, will be from a Columbus-based band called Superdestroyer. Superdestroyer is very hard to nail down with a genre. Kind of depends upon the song. But with that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Superdestroyer.